what has helped you learn how to do that, to focus on, progress over the end product, or, and what should others learn from that?
So the sentinel moment for me really was that day that I got Jim Daly's book, because I looked at it and I realized that I had reached my goal. I had enough money, and yet that didn't bring me any new happiness. It didn't solve any of my problems. It didn't make me feel like I knew any better who I was or what I wanted. So I've done a lot of deep thinking about, well, if that wasn't what was going to truly and utterly make me happy, if that wasn't the purpose of life, what was? And I started realizing that it's something called the climb. And I'll first start by explaining that I say something funny to my kids. I often say to them, may you never reach your dreams, but may you get 95% of the way there.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that to them is there is a beauty in the climb. And I remember thinking this, especially when I was in medical school or residency. Some of those years were the best years of my life because I was in the process of becoming, and it felt so good to be making meaningful progress. Every day, I was fascinated by what I could learn and how I could grow. That was probably the closest thing I ever came to happiness up until an adult age in my 40s, when I started questioning these things again. So it comes down to the fact that I think we need a climb, which is something that's deeply meaningful to us, that relates to our purpose and identity. And then I think we need to feel like we're making progress. We need to feel like we're making some headway. That doesn't mean we have to get there. In fact, a lot of times I think the most perfect climbs are ones we can never 100% get to, but ones where we feel like we're continuously improving. And then last but not least, you've got to enjoy the path. Like, time is finite. Instead of worrying about goals, which often we can't control, we may get there, we may not get there. But what if we could continuously move towards goals in which we enjoy the process of getting there? For me, my podcast is a perfect example. I want my podcast to be super successful. I want millions of people to download it. I want my end goal for it to be the #1 business podcast out there. It's a great goal, but it's probably something that I can only control up to some point. On the other hand, I can go to every podcast interview and be hyped about who I'm interviewing. I can prepare in such a way that I feel like I'm creating the best conversation ever. And then I can have this wonderful conversation with someone I care about for an hour and just love it. That I can control. Like, that's within my power. To me, that's what it's about. I want to spend my time doing those type of things. Wherever I get to in popularity, however well that podcast does, in the end, none of that matters. But what does matter is that it fulfilled my sense of purpose. It made me feel like I was building towards something important and I was making headway. And I think if we could make all of life feel that way, I think that's what, we talk about Maslow's pyramid all the time. I think that's what he meant by self-actualization. You got happiness researchers, and they're always trying to define happiness and figure out how much money you need to make a year to get there. I mean, in a sense, I think that's what they're talking about when they're talking about life fulfillment and they're talking about contentedness. I mean, all those words, I think, ultimately mean doing something you feel is meaningful, enjoying the process, and making headway.
Start before you're ready. Start by starting. Start now.